then came the change of language. Pastor called me in and said, "Next Sunday I'm putting all my parts into English. When are you putting yours?" And I said, "Well, as soon as we can find music that's worth replacing what we have in Latin." And he said, "That will be fine," without realizing was that my answer was, probably never.
I believe that the use of the vernacular in the liturgy is a gift for us to enable us to understand a little bit better the mystery that we're entering into. But it wasn't, I don't believe, the intent of the council to completely strip away the Latin or to make us think that it is all about understanding, because I think it was St. Augustine who told us that if you can understand it, it's not God.
Catholic musicians need to ask themselves, what are they doing? What are we seeking to do? Are we seeking to bring the world into the church? Or are we seeking to assist in the creation of something completely different? Something that when you walk into the church, you hear a sound, you think, okay, that is holy, that is beautiful, that is something special, something unique that I can't get anywhere else, you know. And that's what sacred music offers. It offers a radical difference, and it's a radical project, and it's a progressive project in many ways.
We take something special like Latin and then cherish it. You grab that text and hold it up to choir and say, what do you see? And it was like a diamond, and someone said, I see yellow, I see green, I see blue. We all had something different to say about it, and we were all looking at the same thing. That's a sign of real poetry. Latin is a wonderful language for poetry.
We have opted for the paradigm. We know that you don't use Latin in all of your liturgies, or perhaps very many of them, in fact. But perhaps that you are adding a little bit more Latin from time to time.
When we did sing it, someone came upstairs, a member of the congregation, and said, does your choir understand Latin? And I said, not really, but we talk about it. He says, I can tell by the way they sing that they understand what they're singing. I would say I'd give good credit to this colloquium for that.
I asked him if we could do it in Latin, or at least part of it in Latin. So I brought my Liber Usualis with me that I had from a friend that had been rescued from a convent that was being closed. So my Liber is full of little pencil marks where the nuns have, you know, they obviously spent a lot of time practicing. So I sang Credo 4 from the Liber for my, because of course, you know, you have to say the creed, or in my case, sing the creed. And so that's what I did at my confirmation.
We need to recapture this universal language of music that we share in common as Catholics. And it's tragic that there are too many people that haven't grown up in this. But it's not going to be true for very much longer. You know, things are dramatically changing right now. The ground is shifting, I think. And I think if we look 10 years from now, we're going to see a remarkable difference even still.
On one Sunday, to have turned everything back into Latin is going to be a cold shower on an entire congregation.
Right.
And it's not only going to be a cold shower, it's going to be an empty church.
Right.
And so they have to be educated, and they have to be educated gradually.
Some people want to go and want to go home, like they might go to a conference or a trade show. They want to go home with a bag of tricks. They're going to immediately make changes that are, evident right away. That may not be the case. It may take more time, because studying chant and liturgical music, it's a lifetime study.
I believe myself that the proper thing to do in most cases and in most parishes is to simply start by adding a piece of Gregorian chant in the course of the normal Mass. Because I think that over a period of time, the repetition of these Gregorian pieces will prove fruitful.
Yeah.
The repetition of these pieces will incorporate them into people's mentality. My eye doctor, he said, "What do you do?" And I said, "Well, I direct this Gregorian chant choir." And he said, "Oh, Gregorian chant, I love to listen to Gregorian chant. Where do you do it?" "Well, we do it on the church down on this corner, street corner down there." And he said, "Oh, do you sing it in church?" So he didn't really, he only had a kind of an aesthetic appreciation for it. And that's not bad. It might, in fact, sometime lead him to stick his nose in church and find out what it's about. Music has the capability of evoking a place and a context. Cocktail music, it takes only an instant of cocktail music for you to know exactly where you are. Or military music. You know exactly why military music is the way it is because you have to march to it. And there's no mistaking it.
Yeah.
Gregorian chant is pure liturgical music, and there's no mistaking it. But there are reasons why military music is precise rhythmically. There are reasons why Gregorian chant has a kind of irregular rhythm. It doesn't have a strong beat, because a strong beat conveys the sense of the regular passage of time. And a non-strong beat and a non-regular beat conveys a sense of the extension of time, and therefore conveys a sense, at least an intimation, of eternity. And that's why we have liturgical music. It was as if somebody said, the reason you're coming to church is heaven.
We're expected to say, well, you're okay, I'm okay, and what you think is okay, because even though it's wrong, because that's your opinion. And of course, in America, opinion is sacrosanct. On the other hand, as a Catholic, we have this hierarchy, and we have this inconvenient notion of right and wrong, and all these inconvenient rules that tell us what we're supposed to do. There's very little room for opinion on one side or another of whether you are supposed to do "Let there be peace on earth" for the communion. So that mindset is very difficult to overcome with the congregation and with the choir. Again, because of the mindset of the sanctity of personal opinion, is easy for people to take offense when they find out that what they've been doing for the last 25 years in supposedly sacred music is all wrong. It's a difficult thing to take. It was difficult for me to take because I was under the impression that I was more or less satisfying the rubrics, but I wasn't. So I'm correcting that.